Hello, welcome to the channel. My name's Eric, and we're super excited to have you today because today we get to play with a new guided sharpening system. From time to time, I get the opportunity to review systems, make videos, and give my honest feedback. And so today we're going to be doing just that. We're going to be playing with the Wicked Edge Field and Sport Pro Precision Sharpening System. So we're going to play with this today. We're going to test it out, and I'm going to give you my straight up honest feedback. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And first of all, let me tell you, I was not paid to make this video. This is not a promotional video in any way. This is just an opportunity for me to use this system and let you guys know what I think. And I got to tell you right off the bat, it looks great. Case is heavy duty. Everything in it is well organized. It comes with a C-clamp, a marker. This particular angle cube is really heavy. It's much heavier than the ones you would buy online. And so there's definitely some quality in this particular system. And it looks like it's very well built. I had an opportunity to interview Clay, and if you want to check out that interview, you can click that link right there. And Clay's one of the nicest guys that you can meet. Talk about salt of the earth, genuine. This system was born out of necessity, as you'll hear in the interview that him and I had. And so I'm really excited to try it out. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and clamp this down to the table. And right off the bat, between this system and the Edge Pro, I kind of prefer the Edge Pro's clamping system better. You know, it's a suction cup. Right, this one, you're actually forced to work at the very edge of your counter. And depending on your counter, the clamping system may or may not work. You might have to get a bigger clamping system, but that's just kind of one of those details that I'm noticing. This particular clamping arm is another thing that is a bit tricky, you know, and I've never been a huge fan of pushing down on something that gives resistance away from the way that it's screwed. And I'm curious as to whether anyone out there that's used the Wicked Edge has had any problems with this either bending or coming off. But it looks like it's pretty sturdy, and you do have to really give it a push in order to clamp it down. Now, these are the arms that control the angles. And simple enough, you just put them in, and the screw, you tighten the screw to the angle that you want, and then there's actually a micro adjustment for the angle itself. So now that we have the unit set up, and the unit is actually very easy to set up. The Field and Sport Pro has a self-centering system, so you don't have to worry about one side compensating as far as the angle goes. And here we go. It looks like their stones, they use diamond stones. And their stones are basically broken up into coarse and medium. They have 1, 2, 4, 6, 800, and 1,000. They have ceramic stones, but this particular kit came with those 6 grits. The key right there really gives you precision when it comes to your small blades or your large blades. And now we're going to go ahead and find the angle. All right, now comparing this unit to the Edge Pro Professional, I found that the Wicked Edge was a little clumsy in determining the angle. It took a little bit longer and was a little awkward because of the way you had to hold the paddle, but nonetheless, we got the angle. And this is something that concerns me. Right at the very tip of the blade, the way the paddle comes across the knife, I gave myself a little flesh wound. But you know what? We keep on moving because we have a lot of knives to sharpen. And as we continue to sharpen this particular knife, you'll see...
Twice, I did it twice. I cannot believe it.
On the exact same spot on the opposite hand, I did literally the same thing. And that's when those paddles are coming right across the edge of that blade. The only problem here is the knife is now exponentially sharper, so the cut is a lot deeper.
Right there. Right there.
Okay, moving on. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to bring that knife back a tiny little bit, and we're going to do a couple different styles of strokes. We're going to do some push strokes, basically some scrubbing strokes, and we're going to see how this thing sharpens out. I got to be completely honest. This thing with the diamonds cuts incredibly fast. Okay, this is cut number 3, and this one actually may require a Band-Aid. So as far as the unit goes, it's definitely proving to be a more dangerous unit than the Edge Pro. I can tell you now, I've never cut myself not once on the Edge Pro, even while I was learning, so that's definitely something to consider. I did notice that when you clamp your knife in there, if there's any play at all, it does have a tendency to scratch up the blade if you don't have that tension as tight as you can get it. And so... I was putting electrical tape, but now that I've put electrical tape, I realize that's not the best tape to use. Because notice right there, see how it has a little bit of give? but at least it didn't scratch up the knife. So what I'm doing with this particular Shun paring knife is I'm actually repairing some chips. And as you can see, I've just put on my brand new no-cry gloves. I ain't nobody's fool, all right? And we're just getting started with this particular setup. So I've got a lot of knives to sharpen. And right off the bat, I can tell you that diamonds on this wicked edge are cutting incredibly fast. Therefore, you can get the burr, you can create the bevel, and you can get to that sharpness really, really fast. I gotta say, I'm quite impressed with that aspect of it. But that really has more to say about the diamonds than it does the wicked edge. The wicked edge does a great job holding the angle. And if you jot down, the length and the location of where you place that knife, you can get back to an incredibly sharp place really, really fast. And so I got to say that that's incredibly impressive. There's not a lot of play with that. The problem that I did find sharpening these knives was that with the setup that you have here, and this is about a $650 setup, I couldn't get anything lower than about a 16 degree with the exception of this knife right here. And that's primarily because of how tall it is. But check out what it did to my no-cry. That's my brand new no-cry gloves. Come on, Clay. All right, I know it's not Clay's fault. It's the knife's fault. And so, listen, the longer the knife, the more at risk you're going to be for cutting yourself is what I found. I didn't notice any major problems with the short knives, but chef's knives were all really tricky because they were longer. And although you did find that sweet spot and you try to center the blade, they did tend to pose a little bit of a problem. So I ended up getting 3 cuts and then one that could have potentially taken the little tip of my finger off, but I had a no-cry glove on it. And so the thing that I really like the diamonds. These things are going to have no problem cutting through all sorts of metal. What I wish was that each one of those plates were removable, like they had some sort of a plastic-like fitting where you could slide on a new plate and remove it as you need to remove it. Obviously, these things aren't going to last forever, and you may wear one out faster than the other, but the way they have it set up now, you have to buy both paddles. So if you need a 200, you're getting a 100 and a 200. And so I wish that was a little different. I'm not a huge fan of that. So let me tell you the things that I did like about the system. I liked how easy the system was to set up. It was really simple. That didn't require a lot of explanation. I liked how easy the paddles were to use. They really weren't that complicated either. And switching out between grits was incredibly fast, which also means you're going to get to sharp really, really fast. And I like that. You could go from really dull to really sharp super, super fast. I also like the repeatability of this system. I could take a knife that I sharpened on the wicked edge once, and then once it was dull, pop it back on the wicked edge, and very quickly, if I jotted down my notes from the original sharpening, I could get this thing wicked sharp super fast. I really like that. And so all of those things were really positive, but there were some things that I really didn't like about it. I didn't like the clamping system. I particularly enjoy working slightly towards the center of the table. Now, I understand that some of the other models, if you spend a little bit more money, they've solved this problem as you can have them on movable bases. But I don't want to have to spend $1,000 for that particular feature, right? And so I thought that finding the angle was a little clumsy. And I also thought that the micro adjustment screw, that particular screw kept popping off during the sharpening, moving my angle slightly. And I realized that I had to readjust it. The overall mechanics of the system made me uneasy with the knife up, especially as it got sharper, especially after it was able to cut through my no-cry gloves. And so definitely did not like that part about the system. I also didn't like that I wasn't able to sharpen below 16 degrees. The fillet knife, forget about it. It was way too thin. When I even came close to trying to sharpen it, the diamond paddle was rubbing up directly up against that clamp, and so I would need some sort of an extension in order to get the lower angles and in order to sharpen the fillet knife. So to be fair, also there is a safety guard that you can add as an accessory if you want to go down that road. But after evaluating the wicked edge, and maybe in the higher end system, maybe in the Gen 3, some of these issues have been addressed, and I wouldn't mind giving that one a shot. But this particular unit that I've tested out, if I were to compare it to the Edge Pro Professional, weighing out the good and the bad, I think I would go with the Edge Pro Professional. Like I said before, there's some really good things about the Wicked Edge. It's precise, it's fast, it really delivers that edge, but safety is a huge concern. And so for me, the Edge Pro is more appealing because it's a safer unit. I personally feel, not my opinion only, that I have more control when sharpening when using the Edge Pro, whereas with the Wicked Edge, the knife is fixed and I'm actually just working the paddles. And so those are all things that someone needs to consider when making a decision on a guided sharpening system. I mean, you're not talking about pennies here. You're talking about hundreds of dollars. It's definitely investment. Some people actually use this to start a business. And so you want to pick the right type of system for you. Both systems are going to deliver incredibly sharp knives. There's no question about it. You can get hair whittling edges on both an Edge Pro and a Wicked Edge. So the question is the little finer things, the things that make the sharpening experience more pleasant, that's what you really need to hone in on. And so thanks a lot for watching my video, and I hope you appreciate it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And don't hate on me too much for giving my honest feedback. If you guys want to comment and give me your feedback and your experience, by all means, leave it in the comment section below. And I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Tune in for the next video. If you're new here, please subscribe. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.